The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by Sidebar, its guests, callers, and advisors are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS Verizon Media Group. Sidebar, a 103.5 The Beat podcast, is a production of ILTV Studios and may not be reproduced or represented, in part or in its entirety, without the express written consent of Verizon Media Group. Sidebar is the intellectual property of Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2024. All rights reserved.
Welcome to Sidebar, an ILTV podcast. I'm Georgia Tynes, and this is my guest today, Stephen Hanna. How are you today, Mr. Hanna?
I'm good.
Now, you're usually on this side of the camera. How does it feel to be on that side today?
It is slightly daunting.
Now, I have a question.
Okay.
First question, straight out of the gate.
Jumping straight into questions. Okay, go ahead.
Sidebar.
All right.
How did you come up with that name?
I did not. The name was placed upon it. I think that the management had ideas for a direction that they wanted it to go.
And do you think you're sticking with those ideas?
You know what? For the sake of job security, yeah, man, yeah, all the time, 100%. So it was supposed to be like a play on words, like how when lawyers do the Your Honor, could we have a sidebar sort of thing like that, where like a casual look at serious topics, or like almost at the risk of naming other shows, like a off the record sort of situation.
Okay, so current events, but then you piece it apart and tell people your feelings on it.
Right, except I decided I would never do current events. I mean, they knew that, management knew that.
Okay, why is that?
Because the problem with current events is you don't really get a chance to dive super deep into current events. We live in the Bahamas. If you have a current event, either it is under investigation or it's a privileged person, or whatever it might be, you could only say so much about it. You only have so much information about it. And so you're limited mostly by, how does this make you feel? We need to figure a way to stop this. And we never really dive into anything beyond that, beyond the emotion of that moment. So I try to focus more on themes that we can have a bigger discussion about what is capital punishment, as opposed to too much people getting killed.
Case.
Right,
okay.
Yeah, right. Because then you'd want to talk about a particular case, but barring things that have happened 50, 60 years ago, where you're like, I'm sure all these people are dead, so we can talk about this, without any worries. Like it becomes a little bit more difficult for it to not just become spectacle.
So for persons who have been following you for a while, you have a very confusing name.
Stalkers.
So it's hard to tell the difference between Stephen Hanna and what is the name on social media that people can't ever pronounce?
Shinwin.
How did you come up with that?
Okay.
Or did an ex-girlfriend pick it out for you and you just kept it for precious memories?
No. So Ava Turncrest, who is a reporter, when we were in college together, she had a friend, because Ava's from Freeport, and she was making a jacket for her friend. And I saw the jacket and I was like, oh my God, what's that name, that word? That looks so cool. And she's like, oh, that's the name of my friend, Win, right? And then I was like, oh, that's so cool. She's like, you can't date her. And I was like, I don't know your friend. And here's the weird thing. I've never met Chrissy Wynn, but I stole her surname because I was like, it looked cool on paper.
And that was it.
Right. And Shin is just the Hebrew letter S. And so I thought it was cool. I was going through a phase.
Okay.
And so I combined
but it's stuck
the letter S.
for the last 40 years.
40, wow.
Go on.
Some would say the last 20 years, but
Those
sure.
persons would be very modest. But, you know, and so since then, how often do you have to let people know that it's not Shinjin Wayan?
I don't,
You
listen,
just let them call you whatever.
Right. It is one of those things where, in hindsight, my narcissism failed me. So I, having grand delusions, have always thought myself to be special enough to be good in more than one area.
What you are.
Right. But I don't think you're supposed to think that of yourself.
You have to.
Right. Well, congratulations, Stephen. And so I would write under one name, and then I'd make videos under a different name. And then I guess I'd exist under a different name. Like I'd do different things under different names.
I think this is a disorder, multiple
It might be, right? And so different people would know me by different names. So there are people who only know Stephen Hanna from the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I've been in places where it delights my 18-year-old heart that somebody is like, no, man, he from the internet. And then somebody else be like, no, that's to do it from the radio. And they're arguing. It's like, yeah, I'm all of those people. Right. And then there are people, because Bahamians tend not to read the credits of anything or the playbills.
Too far. Right.
So I have a different name for when I write plays. And they're all, it's a whole ecosystem of different names for different things.
It's going to be hard to give you awards if you're going to have to put 7
No, not really.
names.
See, the whole thing is, the point is to be good enough in one area that name gets an award. Once again.
Yeah. It's a lot. I think we need maybe like a part 2 to get into all
why
of the
I have 30 different names?
Yeah. And what is the specialty of each name? But before we go to break, I need you to take us back to 1995 when you cut on the camera for the first time and decided
1995?
I'm going to start recording myself.
When I was 8?
Hey, you don't have to lie to the people. What was your first piece of work?
Oh my gosh.
Like, when did you decide I want to record myself and put it on the internet? Was it MySpace or High Five? I'm not sure.
I don't even think it ever made it on the internet, but in 2005, I was at COB, me and a friend. All this stuff kind of happened to see him, like.
Okay. So after you stole the name,
right? Well,
decided
around the same time that I was stealing the name.
Mm-hmm.
So the cameras didn't really exist in the way they exist now, right? Okay. So, and the thing is, I remember when they gave a Nobel Peace Prize to the guys that invented 3CCD, which means nothing to most people, but without it, you wouldn't have a camera phone. Okay. They got the Nobel Prize not for the camera phone. They got a Nobel Prize because you could use it for laparoscopic surgery and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's the same technology to put a camera inside somebody to remove like polyps and
That's in my phone?
Right. The sensor being able to do that. So in the early days, if you wanted a webcam, you had to buy it separately from the computer. Mm-hmm. And my brother-in-law had an old Lenovo. Is it Lenovo? No. I forget what the name of the company is, but the people who make Mevo cameras, none of this means anything to the average person listening. But the people who make Mevo cameras, they had a webcam, all right? And he had an old one. And I was like, oh, can I have it? And literally me and Trevon Patton went around COB interviewing people. It's a very embarrassing clip. I found it a while back. Anyway.
I would hope that the producer would put a little bit of that in there for the people.
Well, only if it's muted.
As grainy as it's probably
It's super grainy, and I'm super skinny, and I'm wearing a do-rag or some sort of head cloth. And we went around, and because you didn't have an actual camera, so it's like you had to plug in a mic to the laptop. Mm-hmm. And this is the thick laptop. So he's walking around with the laptop with the screen open, and I holding the microphone that's plugged in because I have a really long cord, and then he's holding the little webcam. It was a lot.
And we're interviewing people around COB.
Yeah.
What were the questions?
It was something.
What's your favorite subject?
No, it was something. I can't remember. It was something dumb though. But it was like, oh,
I think I want to do this.
No, I mean, the over is me saying, looking back and it's like, what an idiot.
No.
But that's what you need. You need that to grow.
Yeah, and you probably wouldn't have been here now if you didn't start
Right.
harassing people on COB's campus
Right.
with your webcam.
That's one of the things that I fear for the younger generation. They're afraid to be embarrassing or embarrassed.
Definitely.
And so because of that, they never do stuff. And like they have way more technology. If we had the technology what they have now,
We'd be millionaires.
we would be millionaires. But they also, because it's so pervasive, right? And people are very negative and they nitpick about everything. Somebody will be walking down the road and somebody, you see how he's walk? Left, right,
like everybody else.
like a human being. But yeah, but like a human walker. And it's like, because of that.
Yeah, it's harder to want to branch out.
Right. And so you have to, people are only making fun of themselves ironically, right? And they're not allowing themselves the grace to be like, oh, I did this thing. At this point, I thought it was cool. And now I realize, well, that's pretty dumb. Wow, I look like a loser.
Yeah, but in the moment,
right,
I was being myself.
And then being able to have fun, being able to look back and say, oh, I've grown from that point is a part of becoming a full person. And it's difficult to be, I don't consider myself an entertainer because I never intended to be in front of the camera. But it's difficult to be a producer or a creator or any sort of thing like that if you don't have the space to be like, and all of that was wrong.
But I did it anyway.
Right. Because then if you don't do that, the minute somebody says something, then your whole world collapses. You're like, oh, nobody understand me.
And you delete all your channels and stay
Nobody
in your
is supporting behaviors and selling Shein bathing suits and complaining about stuff. Anyway.
It happens.
Right. It's just, life.
And so that's a word of advice, I guess, you would give to a younger person. So like, they want to start their TikTok channel or their YouTube. Or
it's going to be it's going to be cringeworthy. It's going to be cringy 10 years from now. And then 20 years from now, it's going to be, wow, I'm lucky that I have this. And then 30 years from now, you're going to be like, this is footage that they're going to use in a documentary about you. So it's like, if you don't have it, then you're just going to regret it.
And if you never started, then you're also going to regret it.
Right.
I think we won't have that issue with the younger generation, though. Like,
you think, but it's going to...
like, join my YouTube channel, and they don't have YouTube channels. They just say it.
See, it depends. They have that, and then they stop, and then they come back. But then also, there's going to be like 65% of this generation, of the young generation now, their kids are going to be like, babe, remember back in the 2000s? Because everybody's video is going to be that one weird TikTok dance. And it's like, we having a throwback party to 2026.
And everybody just dance. That'd probably be someone's daddy by then. The guy that started that. Like, that's my daddy, let's do that dance.
Yeah, do the old man dance. And it's just
and they could bring their daddy to the party and daddy could be perform. Anyway, you guys are watching Sidebar. I'm sitting here with your usual hosts, Stephen Hanna, Shin Win, S. Hanna. We'll get into the rest of that when we come back after this break. Welcome back to Sidebar. I'm Georgia Tynes with Stephen Hanna.
That
Question
is
mark?
my name. That is my name.
Great. Just making sure I'm calling you by your TV persona. Now, in a couple of days.
I think Stephen is my.
Yeah, just making sure.
All right. Okay.
Making sure. I know it's a couple of you guys in there. In a couple of days, the people will watch their people parade down the street in colorful costumes. It is one of the most beloved Bahamian pastimes.
Alexis, sorry, go ahead.
I don't have a Junkanoo bone in my body.
Okay.
Do you?
That's complicated. That's a very
When
complicated.
you hear the drums, do you feel uncontrollable and you have to dance and
No.
shake your locks?
No. Although there are moments of I have these fits of uncontrollable patriotism, but I think that's just feeling a sense of community where it's like, oh, in this moment, the only energy that I feel in this place is like everybody's on the same page, even if they're for different groups, right? And so I feel that. And then there's a part of me that's like, okay, I'm not a part of the in-group, so because I don't know the chats. Like during that number picking thing that we were at a month ago, where they were like, each group would come up and the A groups all were saying different stuff. I was like, I didn't realize that there were so many call and response, right? And the call and response itself, that's a big, I want to say African tradition, but definitely Bahamian, right? Where it's like, I say something and the crowd says something back. And like, so you think about like when people say God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. But like that exists outside of just the church, but because the church is like the most universal gathering for most Bahamians. So it's like, even though we're borrowing that from the American church, right? You also have, so you have the Valley, they'll say something, and then Saxons will say something, then Roots will say something. And then like even the newer groups like Genesis, they'll go up there and be like, hawk up yourself. And it's like,
knows what that means.
Right, it sounds very provocative.
Do people love it?
I bet they do. I bet they do. And it's like, they're wanting to say, okay, I wish that I knew what that is. And I know that I'm not a part of that in-group. But observing it, it's like, there is something special about that. I do like the music. I've attended Junkanoo more than once. I've only participated in Junkanoo once.
You participated in that?
Yes.
On the street?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I was, Kermit Ramming was like, hey man, I built this costume float, something, off the shoulder piece for the prodigal sons. And he's like, man, they say it's too heavy. I need you to come lift it. Right?
Okay.
Now, in fairness to them, it was very large, right? So, but I was able to lift it. Now, the issue was that to get underneath it requires a level of limberness.
That you possessed?
Some, at one point in my life I did. On the day of, not so much. And so it was like, the first time I put it on, cool, we were great. Then it was like a lull, or the person ahead of us in the procession, in the parade, they stopped, and so we had to stop. And so I came from underneath it, or so I did something. And then I had to go scurry back underneath it. And my knee did not come with me. And so my knee was completely out of place. And they're like, the marshal's like, you gotta move. And it's like, I can't. My knee, I think I dislocated my knee. It's like, just go down there. Just go down there. And I walked from essentially, I think it happened right after Pompeii. I went all the way to east, where you got to turn off.
on a dislocated knee
Yeah.
under possibly 80 to
I-
90 pound
It was
costume.
more than 90 pounds. That was a very heavy costume. He is like, I could put all the crepe paper in this year. Anyway, it was an experience.
Did you win best
Best.
whatever that was?
Oh, we were disqualified.
Because of your knee?
No, we started late. That had nothing to do with me. That's neither here nor there.
Oh, so you were fighting a losing battle before.
Right. But you know what? We made it all the way I made it all the way there. So, you could check that out. I don't remember. As a matter of fact, that's the thing. I think for the people in Chancano itself, the only people the music is so my one critique is that within the group, if you're not watching it, you can't hear the music. So the big costumes in the front, they're so far from the actual music that it's like, I don't recall the music. All right? The music is very far away. And then even with the dances, some of them are closer together, but like, I feel like there are times where it's like, there's some of these dances, you guys are very far, like the bigger the group is from the music. So my critique, I guess, would be like, and who knows, maybe they fixed it since then. But I'd like, mix it up. The marshals are already...
Dancer, music,
right.
shake it up.
Where it's like, you should have the music interspersed throughout. But I guess they wanted to have a band section so the band could play as one.
Yeah.
Right? And it's difficult if you have some drummers here and some drummers there to all keep
to have that cohesive sound.
Right. And so I get it. And maybe it's just you need smaller groups or something.
Okay. So now that your knee has healed, is that something you think you'd do again?
Never again.
What a lighter costume this time.
Let me not say never again. I would, but it'd have to be like, I need to do something special for it. Because so this is my thought, all right? I don't think... Okay, so the moral and the ethical way for this to work is that whomever is in charge of the Chancano parades, go to PRS and say, here's the giant check for all of the copyrighted music we're about to play. We will ask the groups to submit their playlists so you can know who to give what money to. But here's the giant check. So assuming that either already happens or will happen, then we can move on to why every year is it like, okay, they pick the numbers and they say, we're going to be performing, and this year, out of Africa, which is also the same thing as out of Egypt, which is also the same thing, like the Great Pyramids, Moses, it'll be the same thing, or it'll be, we are celebrating the Native Americans, which means we're just putting on a bunch of feathers and bows on somebody. And there are certain things that they keep doing over and over again. You have music that already exists, that comes with a theme. There are musicals galore. There's nothing stopping any Chancano group from saying, hey, we've come third consecutively for the past 10 parades routes. All right? Let's take a risk. This Boxing Day, our theme is The Lion King. Okay. Disney is not going to sue you. Matter of fact, Disney might give you a check. All right? You perform only Lion King songs. Everybody is dressed up as characters from The Lion King. It's going to be one cohesive giant show. Will the people who are on Bay Street hear one song like, I Can't Wait to Be King? Yes. And the people on Shirley Street will hear, Can You See the Love Tonight? And you can have the free dancers performing more emotional choreography and stuff. And so it's like, it already exists. And that's the thing. The Lion King is one musical from one company. There are thousands of musicals. There are Bohemian musicals. There are foreign musicals. You can You can do Sweeney Todd. You can do whatever you want to do.
We're going to continue with this as soon as we come back from the break.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Welcome back to Sidebar. Georgia Tynes here with Stephen Hanna. Now we're gearing up for one of the most exciting years in politics. Election year.
Is this exciting? Oh,
I
okay.
think,
Even in
right?
the election cycle. Okay.
It's what everybody looks forward to, right? It's the beginning. The party wins. Everybody's all, ooh.
Happy
And then, it gets quiet. And then before election, it's like, they didn't do this and they didn't do that. And, start to get all riled up over, them not moving the rocks off the side of the road and stuff. How are you feeling?
Honestly, I feel, And wait, so last night I actually had a conversation with Dr. Nicholas Bethel. And we weren't talking about this. We were talking about the performing arts in general.
Mm-hmm.
And one of her notes was in the before time. She's like, people of my generation, we have it harder because if we do anything slightly political,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that for several decades now, it's been back and forth, that gives you a lack of stability. And so when you have one government in for an excessive amount of time, you can complain about the government because they're the established person or whatever. And that gives you a level of stability. You know who you're talking about. People get it. They understand. They either ignore you or they attempt to make adjustments or whatever. But there's almost this backlash from it being a back and forth. So it's one thing to say, oh, what the PLP doing is wrong when the PLP has been in power for 25 years.
Okay.
It's one thing to say, oh, the FNM, they're going too far when the FNM has been in power for 10 years. Mm-hmm. But when you start saying, okay, this person, that person, and they've only been there for 5 years, it's almost like, oh, it's your fault that we are no longer in power. And now it's like, oh, what happens when the person comes back? Or it's too much turmoil.
It's very flip-floppy.
Right. And so that's pretty much where I'm at. Whereas to what end does this help? My only, I would hope that I don't want anyone specific. I would want that all the people, that all of the parties put forward would not be fillers.
Okay, that's fair.
If we could get actual people to actually, if any of these guys get in, they're good. Mm-hmm. Then
they genuinely want
right, and they want to help their community,
and
they are not so petty that they're like, oh well, yeah, I love my people, but I'd never work with the opposite side to do anything or whatever. If we could just get every single person who is submitted is a good candidate and not, well, it's 39 seats or 41 or 42, however many we end up with. Mm-hmm. So we got to fill all of them. That doesn't make sense because I was like, we're going to get stuck with somebody who should not be anywhere near the House of Assembly, and usually they don't. They rarely show up.
And then they don't last, yeah.
Yeah, so like during the time, they didn't represent the needs of their constituents, right? They and then the weirdest part, not the weirdest part, the dumbest, the part that took me a while to learn. The point of an MP isn't, and it sounds horrible, an MP is not actually supposed to be a community leader. Some of them are. The good ones are, the great ones are, but that's technically not their job. Their job is, amongst us, we say, man, we need somebody to make it a law that X, Y, and Z happens based on how our community feels about a particular thing. Now, we don't literally say that, but that's what it's supposed to be. And from amongst us, we say, man, Joe, you know law and you talk good. Maybe you're a lawyer, maybe you're just a fisherman, whatever. That's just a fisherman. Maybe you're a fisherman. You go to Nassau and you tell them, over here, this is our issue. We have an issue with the fishing over here, or we have an issue with how things being sold, we have an issue with whatever it might be. Joe goes to Nassau and he says, I'd like to propose we do this. We do it. Or he votes on the law and the law passes or whatever, but he represents their need on a legislative level. Okay. Joe's responsibility is not to give everybody $800 for rent. And Joe's responsibility is to go to Parliament and say, I suggest that we tax people who make $1 billion so that we can subsidize rent for everybody.
So it's not Joe's job to come and sit in my house and ask me what I need?
No, and then every time Joe does that, that's either Joe playing the game or from the goodness of Joe's heart. But that's not Joe's job. That's not his job as an MP. And there's a need for something like that. I don't see that people be like, oh, that's local government. It's not. That's community. So if communities got together and said, hey, this is what we want and this is what we need, and oh, so-and-so died, and then all the people who you've known all your life come to the funeral, that's just community you're talking about. But now, in a way, we kind of looking for validation when we want the person who we've decided for 5 years is the most important person. They came to the funeral, so that gives me a level of validation. But that's not that person's job, and it doesn't, after the funeral, then what?
Because I always think it's kind of weird. If my MP didn't really know said family member, do I need you to come there and do a very generic chat GTP speech about how wonderful
you'd be so lucky
this person is?
If it was chat GTP.
I don't think it's necessary. But I think we've grown accustomed to the back to school giveaways and the ham and turkey and the carnation on Mother's Day and the pair of socks on Father's Day.
Right.
Are those things, because we've gotten so used to them as a Bahamian society, necessary? Or because then you'll have people like online, I haven't seen my MP in 4 years. They wouldn't come to the door to bring me a cup of juice. Is it something they're supposed to do, or are we just looking at it the wrong way?
Both. So, okay, yes and no. It's not that's not what they're supposed to be doing. But then there are also MPs that aren't doing the legislative part either. Their MPs, the only time they've ever stood up in the House of Assembly is because, oh, it's my turn.
Okay.
All right? And so they're failing on that end as well. They're failing on their actual job as well as what people assume are their job. And so if the public thinks your job is one thing, politics is pretending, okay, and playing along and doing it.
It's a long game.
But you can't not do either, right?
It's true.
And so you have people who are doing neither of those things, and they're not making society better for their constituents in any way, shape, or form. Do the On one hand,
Mhm.
there is a place and a need for back to school giveaways and the turkey and ham, and even to just say, okay, hey, I appreciate you. I want to do something cool or whatever. There is a place for that.
I remember your family.
That should be accompanied with in the off season, because every charitable organization will tell you, oh, Christmas is the time when we get all our money.
Mm-hmm.
So in the off season, not Christmas, not Mother's Day, not Father's Day, in the regular days, where are the after school programs?
Mm-hmm.
Where are the, hey, I remember you asked me for a job, so and so they having this job fair or whatever, or I bring in a job fair to the area, or the National Training Agency is doing a thing. I asked the minister who's in charge of that to make sure I save 10 seats for my constituents, and you tell me your son looking for something more. That's what so that's the way you do that year out. And then it should be a situation where by the end of your run, you could still give them the ham and turkey, and they could decide, but they didn't need the ham and turkey.
No.
Or you at least put them in a better place where it's like, oh, okay, now we got 2 turkey this year. Because we didn't already buy our turkey. And he gave us the next turkey.
And then there was that time that he did facilitate for little Johnny
Right.
to get that job.
And so it's like, I see, there is a, and once again, the great MPs will tell you, you have to do both. All right? The law doesn't require them to do both.
Mm-hmm.
The law requires them to show up a certain number of times in the House Assembly on Wednesday. Outside of that, they're free and clear. Right? So, but yeah, I don't think we're going to see the end of back to school giveaways, mostly because, I mean, listen, it is a fun situation. The problem is so large that it would take a level of radical change that would require almost all the MPs, both whoever's in government and opposition, to all say at the same time, we are going to make some changes that are going to upset very rich people. Because like you'd have to change the economic foundation of the country and not just be like, oh, move from tourism. Like, no. The things that exist that make money or businesses exist, what they put back into the community has to be equal to what they're removing from the community. So you can't have a business that makes $100 million a year in a place where they are the only building that isn't falling apart because everybody else living in a clapboard house. Yeah. I like, oh, we sell fried chicken here, and this is a landmark, and everybody know where this is. And the minute you step off that property, it is the scariest ghetto that you've ever been in. People are getting shot 20 feet away from the building. This is the only safe place.
It's the only place that's not touchable.
Right. And so I was like, you have to address those issues. Mm-hmm. And those issues those people are very difficult issues to address.
Now, social media is playing a big part in politics this lap. I mean, I think it's always been there, right? But we're seeing more of the TikToks, and I think that's where a lot of the younger first-time voters will be getting their information from. How scary is that?
That is frightening.
Right?
Because that's not even that's so frightening. Mm-hmm. Does TikTok even have like links in the caption where you can click to like go see more information?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, like to lead me off of TikTok?
No.
Right. It'll just be like...
It has to be within their platform.
Right. So it'll be like another video or... Yeah, and see, all that's frightening. Because at least with Wikipedia, you can scroll to the bottom. It's like, oh, here's a reference. Oh, here's the full PDF that this reference, and I can read it in its context or whatever. Getting any information in 5-minute chunks is going to be a problem. Not even 5-minute chunks. In 10-second and 15-second chunks is going to be a problem. TikTok and those short form videos should either, hey, remember that thing? This is a reminder, or spark your interest.
Like a summary of...
Even if the summary, the summary only works if you knew that the thing existed before. All right, and so like it's a reinforcement tool in my mind more than this is it, because it's not enough. This should, after 5 videos of seeing something, you'd be like, what is that? And then you should be able to leave the platform and find out the full information, or whether that it might be going to YouTube, but even with that, it's like that shouldn't be the only. You need the same way when you're eating actual food, you gotta have a varied diet. You gotta have some carbs, and you gotta have some vegetables, like leafy greens and protein. If you're only getting all your media information from one source, it might taste good or feel good, but like this is eventually going to be a problem. And even if it's like, well, I'm only eating protein, yeah, but you have no fiber.
Yeah.
Fish doesn't come with fiber. You gotta
have
now you're full of poop.
that you'll be losing weight.
Right. Well, to some extent, well, whenever your belly finally break down, yes, you will lose tons of weight. Yeah.
Is the TikTok part of it as scary as some of these news, and I use that word very loosely, on Facebook, for instance, or like Instagram?
See, with the news things well, first of all, I feel like Facebook is an old person scam. All right.
But then the old people are the ones that are influencing the young people as
they have
to,
less votes.
This is what you should do.
Anyway, once again.
And then I don't want to call any of those fake pages names, but they'll be like, did you check so and so page? You will see when they say X, Y, and Z. And
Yeah, and
that's not a real news page.
No, and then it's like, what is your criteria to accept what these people say? Like, who are these people? Like, who is this person that is talking to me?
I don't know.
This is a faceless individual that is speaking gobbledygook. You don't know the person who is in charge of it. The only, not pleasure, but the only comfort I feel is that none of them last long enough to do the full level of damage they could do. All right? They always get shut down at some point.
Some of them seem to have been hanging around a little bit.
Well, those are the ones that are politically aligned.
Well, you are listening to Sidebar. We're going to continue with this as soon as we come back from the break.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Welcome back to Sidebar. Now, Mr. Hanna, we were talking about the impact of social media on the upcoming election. We were talking about some of the pages that people are getting their stories from that are less than reliable.
They are horrible.
I would love to report all of them, right? Because I hate to have people quote them and say, no, you didn't read the story. That's what it said. And it's like, no, check an actual newspaper or an actual...
Yeah, somebody who could be sued.
Yeah. Let somebody show you their face for once, you know. What advice would you give to the younger generation that's coming up, not aside from social media, you know, aside from just listening to Great Grammy and saying that you have to vote for them because this is what we've always done? What would you like to encourage them to do before they consider heading to the polls in whatever month that's going to be?
See, that's because, like, I remember when the first time I voted, there is this inclination for you wanting to be a part of some level of change. All right. And so, right, I was one of the people who voted for BDM. All right. And you'd think that, anyway, I voted for BDM because it's like, oh, yeah, these guys are radical. They're trying to do change or whatever. Right. And then now you look at it and you're like, oh, Cassius, what are you doing? All right. But that while that is tempting to be change, and honestly, that is the benefit of youth. The world moves forward based on the actions of young people. All right. A lot of the people who we remember throughout history were older than most of them. All right. It's like Jesus died at 33. Martin Luther King Jr. was in his 30s. Malcolm X, was he 40? I don't think he was 40.
As well as Tupac and Biggie. Continue.
Right, Tupac and Biggie, I think he was in their 20s, all right? Then Fred Hampton, he was like 20, and the leader of the Black Panthers, all right? And it's like these guys made these remarkable differences in the world at a super young age, because when you're young, you haven't invested so much into the world that you're like, oh, well, I finally get a house, I finally get a job, I finally get this car, I finally get married, I can't risk all this, right? And so it is on the young people to make radical choices and attempts at change. What I would advise them to do is to not do it where they will be used to further somebody else's agenda. Okay. All right? Because what tends to happen is people be like, oh, because that's also how you get child soldiers. Because a 12-year-old can kill somebody because they don't have any real understanding of how murder or how death works. They've probably never actually seen somebody die of natural causes at that point in their life. Like an adult would be like, oh, if I kill this person, someone's going to kill me. But a 12-year-old is like, I could be like on the TV, blah, blah, blah. All right?
And then they find out the consequences after.
Right. And then it's like, oh, life, this is permanent. They've not lived long enough to make a decision that lasts forever, because they've not lived long enough to even have the concept of forever yet. So you can't allow persons who could use your extreme energy and your extreme views to further their own personal agenda. And then they're fine, but you online saying certain things, or you throwing rocks at somebody, or you doing whatever you might be doing, right? What you want to do is, with that revolutionary spirit, for lack of a better term, because I've now, once again, I now have a problem with the word revolutionary, but that's a personal issue. Anyway, with this revolutionary spirit that you have the best thing that you could do is find an actual group of friends. And then to keep expanding your circle in that regard. If you could find, because all the people who we look up to, who are in this country making any sort of moves, you'll be like, wait a minute. These dudes own a law firm together? Oh yeah, they became friends before your parents were born. And even though they're in different political parties, they're still friends and they're still making money together. Oh, all these dudes knew each other? Yes. And then they formed a giant conglomerate of, they build houses and they own land and they own insurance companies. And like, once you figure out, okay, this is my friend, hey, even if your friend is just your neighbor and it's like, oh, we got to get out of here or whatever, right? How can we get out of here and it not result in any of us dying? And it not result in any of us going to jail for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the minute, they seem like small steps, but like those are the revolutionary steps that will change the world.
Mhm.
And so while I would never say, okay, vote for the person that's going to do X, Y, and Z, because everybody has different needs and different. Now, when people approach you, say, hey, this is my concern.
Mhm. This is what I'd like to see done.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the what law you can write to make that happen?
Mhm.
All right. And you will see people start stuttering or saying words that don't make no sense. And when people start saying words that don't make no sense to you, don't pretend to understand, because they're most likely not saying real words.
Ask questions.
Say, hey, what does that mean? I don't talk to me like I
Yeah.
drop out of grade 5. What are you saying? You know, so like that's the only electoral advice I give them. But the real advice is like, you got to go out and start making friends. And maybe start with 3 friends or 4 friends. You keep expanding your circle. That's how you, when they are no longer 18 and when they are suddenly 36 or 48.
That's like positive friends, right? We're not encouraging you guys to join a gang. We're telling you, or to start one. You know, positive friends who want to do positive
What's
things.
a gang, right? But yes, positive friends. I mean, clearly you want, because once again, you're trying to build a better life. And for you to have a better life, you have to be alive. So.
And you'd want your friends to be alive as well.
Yeah. So that would be my thought. And then also, don't be afraid to be wrong.
Yeah, because you're young.
Yeah.
You have
I mean,
time
and
to
you're
learn.
alive. Like,
Yes.
as long as you're alive, there's a chance to
Correct it.
switch.
To learn from it and correct it.
Yeah. Also,
and don't get all of your advice from Facebook, or no, kids aren't on Facebook. Don't get all your advice from TikTok.
don't get all your advice from any one place, because they're horrible books as well. So it's like, you gotta get a varied diet.
All right, guys. So that has been this episode of Sidebar. We'd like to thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Hanna, for being here
No
and taking
problem.
your time off your busy schedule.
In my house. Thank you. No problem.
I'm Georgia Tynes, and we'll see you next time.